This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. 1 dead, 2 injured in St. James gun attack. A man was reportedly shot and killed while 2 others are nursing gunshot wounds following a shooting incident in Pitford, St. James on Friday night. The police have identified the deceased as the 29-year-old Dominic Futahe of a capture land address in Pitford. A 34-year-old man and a 32-year-old man were injured by the unknown assailant during the shooting. Although details surrounding the incident are not known, a well-placed source is alleging that it stemmed from an internal gang feud that has been brewing in the St. James residential community. This feud has reportedly seen many members of the gang being targeted by their cronies in the last 2 weeks, the news source added. The Granville police are investigating. Man accused of stealing dies after attack by Mandeville mob. A man who was accused of theft and was attacked by an angry mob yesterday in Mandeville, Manchester, has died. The deceased has been identified as Chieftain Campbell of a Victoria Town address in South Manchester. According to police reports, at approximately 2 p.m., officers were on foot patrol along Manchester Road when they came upon a crowd that converged around a man. The man, who the police say appeared to have a bloody nose, was being accused of stealing money from a man some time ago. The police subsequently took control of Campbell, who reportedly said he was diabetic. Campbell was transported to the Mandeville Regional Hospital where he later died. 35-year-old bearer charged with illegal possession of firearm. The Constant Spring police have charged a 35-year-old bearer who reportedly threatened a teenager with a gun on Harribane Lane, St. Andrew in March. Dwayne Carter, otherwise called the Banks of Morgan Lane, Kingston 8, has been charged with illegal possession of firearm and assault at common law. The police say about 8:30 p.m. on March 1, a group of boys were along the roadway when Carter approached them and pointed a firearm at one of them. A report was made to the police and Carter was arrested and charged. A police statement yesterday evening did not say when he was charged, but it said a court date is being finalized. Zozo will not be discontinued in Denham Town, says Prime Minister. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the security forces will not surrender the Denham Town community in Western Kingston to criminals amid an increase in confrontations between members of the security forces and the residents in recent weeks. Let me make it clear to whichever intelligence is operating behind the criminality that the government of Jamaica will not pull down the zone of special operations in Denham Town to give space to criminals, Holness asserted during the handover of a social housing unit in Augustown, St. Andrew yesterday. So if there is anyone who is deliberately trying to plan, coordinate, stoke confrontations, that will not work. We're not going to allow criminals to dictate our security response. His comments come against the background of 2 widely circulated videos on social media that show Jamaica Defense Force soldiers assigned to the Zozo within the community in apparent standoffs with residents. Human rights lobby group Jamaicans for Justice yesterday said it was deeply troubled by incidents in Denham Town. In one instance, a man and a woman seen in a tussle with a soldier been later detained. In a second video, a woman who is said to be pregnant was captured confronting a soldier before being pushed and kicked by another JDF member. The Prime Minister said the security forces have had challenges with Denham Town for a long time, but he would not discontinue the use of Zozo in the community. It is really sad what is happening there. It is obvious that there are attempts to challenge the security forces, and the security forces in their response and in their conduct sometimes would have gone over and beyond what is expected of them in the use of force on our citizens, Holness said, adding that he is slated to visit the community within the coming weeks. At the same time, he insisted that the government would never empower the security forces to abuse citizens. I think everyone who wears a uniform and is under oath to serve and protect must understand that a directive of the government, citizens also have a duty and a responsibility, and too often we have seen where police officers and military personnel as well are conducting their lawful duties, and there have been high levels of unreasonable resistance and unnecessary confrontation which leads to conflict, said the Prime Minister. He added, it means that the government must take a long-term approach to it, which is what the zones of special operations are. They're a long-term peace intervention. That we are not seeing the peace coming through as we would like in Denham Town is not an excuse to withdraw, but to intensify our intention to put in place the necessary leadership and resources to give that safety, security, and the peace guaranteed to those Jamaican citizens who reside in Denham Town. Tensions have been running high in Denham Town since the controversial shooting of 32-year-old Horan Glenn by a JDF member on April 16. The Independent Commission of Investigations is investigating the incidents. That will never happen, Johnson Smith scoffs at a call to end the bid for Commonwealth post. Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith has rebuffed the call for her to end her bid for the Commonwealth Secretary-General post, saying it will never happen. Last month, incumbent Commonwealth Secretary-General Baroness Patricia Scotland urged her to reconsider running, arguing there is no vacancy. But responding to questions on Friday, Mrs. Johnson-Smith made it clear there is no way she would drop out of the race. That will not happen. That will never happen, she said as she chuckled at the suggestion. A decision on the appointment of a Secretary-General is to be made during the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, which will take place from June 20 to 25 in Kigali, Rwanda. CARICOM has appointed a subcommittee to delve into the issues surrounding the election amid a divide in support for the two candidates. In the interim, Mrs. Johnson-Smith has said she will be heading to Africa to drum up support among members of the African, Caribbean, and the Pacific grouping. She said she will be meeting with heads of government as well as other foreign ministers in that region. Singapore has joined the list of countries supporting Mrs. Johnson-Smith's candidacy for the post of Commonwealth Secretary-General. The government of Singapore made its position known in a diplomatic note. It expressed the confidence that based on Mrs. Johnson-Smith's strong credentials and the leadership experience, she is well placed to lead the Commonwealth. On Wednesday, the Maldives announced its support for her bid for the post. Search still on for Walter's matriarch. It has been 18 days since 68-year-old Beryl Walters was washed away in floodwaters in Montego Bay, St. James, and the St. James Municipal Corporation is entering the final phase of its search effort to locate the elderly woman who has been feared dead. Speaking with the news yesterday, Montego Bay Deputy Mayor Richard Vernon said that the search will continue this weekend to find Walters, who was swept away along with her 12-year-old granddaughter Janelle Walters when their family car got washed into a gully at Westgate during heavy rains. Walters' husband and their adult daughter, who were also in the car, were rescued shortly after the mishap. However, Janelle's body was later recovered near Montego Bay's cruise ship pier. We have not called the search off. We have one more thing we need to do to clear out a section of the exit of the river where the river meets the sea around by the offices of the Urban Development Corporation, and then we will decide from there what we are doing afterwards, said Vernon. Once we clear that up, we will reconvene a follow-up meeting to one that we had earlier with the Emergency Operations Center, and we will make a decision from there. By Monday, we should have a finalized update, Vernon added. If we do not see any sign of anything, we will have to call it off, and we cannot do anything about that, he explained further. We want to be satisfied that we have done enough, and the family will hopefully be satisfied we have done enough to resolve the situation. For several days following the April 19 mishap, extensive searches were conducted at the Montego Bay River area in an effort to find Walters. Relatives and the members of the Mount Salem Seventh-day Adventist Church, where Walters was a member, also conducted their own search of the river. So too did representatives of the St. James Municipal Corporation, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and the Cornwall Bar Association. Poor infrastructure and a lackluster garbage collection system were blamed for the flood conditions that led to the tragedy. In the meantime, Vernon gave assurance that assistance will be given to the family members if they should need help making funeral arrangements for Janelle, who was a grade 7 student at Montego Bay High School. A date has not yet been announced for the service. We have given the commitment to the family members that if there is anything we can do to help them, we will see how best we can help them. There is no barring us from giving that type of assistance, and it is highly likely that will happen once they reach out to us, said Vernon. It all depends on how the family wants to deal with the situation, but our commitment to the family still stands. Christine Gilbert, Janelle's mother, has announced her intention to launch a foundation in memory of the student to help less fortunate Jamaicans in education and health care. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.